in the now, as a Buddhist might understand it. But for us, the Western Homo sapiens who have grown past the mysteries of peekaboo magic tricks and object impermanence, the flow of time becomes a complicating factor. Besides, the mouse died few days from when we left her, tragically for her, but not for the human beings in this story, most of whom experienced life as a kind of hallucination, unstuck from traditional time as a result of being kept in cages where nothing happened according to their own will. It was 7 years after the U.S. president's war with North Korea, and the whole world had gone a little crazy. It was as if all the bottled-up frustration of the administration, the repressed class hatred and racism, the fear of the other, and the unquenched greed had started to spray from sprinkler systems in every office, every classroom, every store, and every network in the country. Icy water raining down through high-pressure rubber tubes onto everything and everyone. All bets were off, and the future was chaos. At least, that's how it seemed. The fizzled North Korean missile was nothing more than a bundle of sparklers that sprinkled warheads over a small section of southeastern Alaska. The warheads had apparently been meant for Valdez, Prudhoe Bay, and down into Wyoming and Colorado. The North Koreans had thought to contaminate most of America's oil supplies to frighten U.S. leaders to the negotiating table. But what really happened was a mad rush by military and terrorist groups from around the globe to gather the missing nukes while the rest of the world watched the U.S. Army and subcontractors liberate the hungry North Koreans. First came fire and destruction, then a river of American food, MREs, and then fatty, grain-fed beef, along with televisions playing dubbed American films over steam tables laden with limp yellowy pork chops, grease-limp cheeseburgers, and boiled cabbage with brisket, all under the watchful eye of white men with black guns and sunglasses. But none of that mattered to the men serving time out on the island where the Ted Stevens High-Security Federal Penitentiary had been built. Olympus, as it was known to its full-time inhabitants, or TSHSFP on their paperwork. The employees, who rotated on and off site, called it tough shit. Whatever you decided to call it, it was a concrete facility built on a rocky outcropping off the coast of Yakobi Island. The nearest civilian town was Cold Storage, Alaska. Now it was 1730, October 31st, 2027, almost 5 years after the final peace accord with China, North Korea, and the end of hostilities. The world was still in a frenzy of nervous breast-beating and anxiety about dodging the bullet of nuclear annihilation. The United States had somehow balanced its trade deficit with Asia. There was no more Republican Party, but a new Democratic Business Party and the Constitutionalist Party of the American nation. The evening meal had been served in the red and blue units, and the white unit was just finishing up its sobriety, substance, and spirituality class in the cool-down space, which had thick windows overlooking the North Pacific and was plumbed with pipes to flood the room with either salt water from the surrounding ocean or imported military gas. Gloomy Knob was the speaker on this day. Gloomy, of course, wasn't his real name, but the name given to him as a boy by the community. Gloomy Knob had grown up in cold storage and had graduated from the local high school. He had earned enough money working in the woods, cutting trees, and working on machinery in Alaska, Washington, and Idaho. He had been living at home and building a cabin when he was arrested. He had been building a new life, or so he thought. He was one of only 2 inmates who were locals. He and Ishmael Muhammad were the only 2 prisoners from cold storage held on Olympus. Gloomy had been given his nickname, and really the only name he used, for a cliff face in Glacier Bay he had liked to visit as a boy. Gloomy Knob was a bluff where to this day mountain goats loved to climb up and down from tidewater all the way to the alpine willows. It was a place where Tlingit elders went to gather goat hair that had sloughed onto the willow branches.